Guys, it is Aoife from February's Eat Out Laughing, and I'm here to do a monthly recommendations. So monthly recommendations is a Goodreads group created by Trina over Between Chapters and Kayla at Kayla Rain, and every month it has a different discussion, and this month for December is books you recommend people to read in 2016. So I've decided to come up with a few books that I read this year and that I really enjoyed, and I will just let you know what those ones are now. One of the most recent books I read this year, which I absolutely adored and is become one of my favourite books ever, is Uprooted by Naomi Novik. This is a fantasy book set in a land where there is a village where a girl called Agnieszka lives, and the village is controlled by a man they call the Dragon, and he's a wizard. And every 10 years he picks one girl to come and live with him in the tower. And no one really knows what happens to the girls up there. They're told that he doesn't do anything bad to them, but they always end up coming out 10 years later a little bit changed, and they don't stay around too long once they're free. And everyone thinks that Agnieszka's friend is going to be chosen in this year's pick, and it ends up that Agnieszka is chosen instead. She ends up finding out all these different things about the dragon and about herself, and there's all these crazy adventures and a big fight against a very dark magic, and it is just so much fun, and I really enjoyed it. And I think if anyone is looking for a really good fantasy, the next book I've seen on a lot of people's recommendations, and I don't blame any of them for recommending it because it is a beautiful, amazing book, and it is The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. This book is absolutely it's just magical. The only way to describe this book is magical, and it's a really beautiful, subtle magic, and it kind of creeps its way into your heart, and it kind of stays there and you always remember it. And this book is all about a magical circus, and it kind of travels around and it just kind of appears in places, and there's all these amazing different tents created, and there's this competition going on between this man and a woman, and they're both kind of creating these magical tents, and it's kind of, they don't know when the competition ends, how it ends, what they're supposed to do to make it end. All they know is that they're in constant competition with one another for some strange reason. And it kind of goes on like that, and the two's relationship and how they kind of compete against one another, and then all these other magical happenings within the night circus. And I just loved it. I've heard a lot about this before. I wasn't really sure what to expect, and I just really thought it was a very enjoyable read, a really magical read. It's perfect for kind of winter time, I think, because it has that kind of soft magic that you kind of associate with Christmas and snow and, you know, warm nights just by the fire, and I just love it. But I think it can be read any time of the year anyway, because I think I read it during the summer, and it's just really beautiful, and I think everyone should try and read it because it's just amazing. Next book I have is another popular choice, and that is Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. I've read this year, and I wasn't sure what to expect. I'd heard about it, but I'm not a person that's really deep into sci-fi novels. I like them, but I don't read them all the time, and I'm certainly not a person that is into gaming, so I wasn't sure if I would enjoy this or if I would get this book. But I ended up really loving it. It's very easy to follow on. If you don't know anything about gaming or different technology, that's okay, because you don't really need to know. I found it quite easy to follow along with. The world is just amazing. The virtual world that the characters go into is just so interesting. The book, it's not that fast paced, but it's fast paced enough that you really get carried along with it, and I just loved it. I thought it was just an amazing idea. There is a blurb on the front of the book that's kind of like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory meets The Matrix. I think that's a really great way to describe this book, and it's just really good. If people don't know what it's about, because I realised I haven't described what it's about, it is about a boy who lives in a world where there is a virtual reality, and the person who created this virtual reality died and said in his will that the person who finds these three keys to unlock a gate and get an Easter egg is going to inherit the whole virtual gaming, which means they'll be a multi-millionaire and control the whole reality. And this boy decides that he wants to do it, and he kind of joins the journey to go and try and find these three keys, and he starts kind of getting on with it and kind of getting closer and closer to his goal. And he meets new friends and he meets new enemies, and he starts kind of coming up in the world, in both the real world and the virtual reality, and it's just a really great adventure, and I really recommend people to enjoy it. Another book I have is I Let You Go by Claire Mackintosh. I read this a few months ago, and it is kind of a mystery. And I don't want to say too much because the great thing about this book is kind of the twists and turns it takes, and all I can say is that it starts off with a young boy who's killed in a hit and run accident, and it kind of follows on from there, and about people running away from grief and dealing with things that happen in their lives. And it's just really great book. It really kind of gripped me. I was sitting there for hours reading and reading and reading because I just wanted to know what happened. I couldn't put it down, and I think that is a real tell of a good book, and I would really recommend anyone who likes a good mystery to pick this book up because it was really good. And as well, the author was in the police department for a while where she lived in the UK, so a lot of the police work that is done in this book, you can tell it's quite real. It's not far-fetched at all. The police meet red tapes, and they're like kind of, they can't just run in like full speed ahead and get things done. They have to go through different rules and precautions and stuff like that. And I think that's really great to see. It's not a far-fetched book. It is a very realistic book in that sense, and I really enjoyed that. Another book who I have been singing its praises is Because You'll Never Meet Me by Leah Thomas. This has been one of my favourite books of this year. I really loved it. This is a book that's basically, it is all done through letters. You're reading it through letters from these two boys who are writing letters back and forth. One of them lives in America, another lives in Germany, and both have been born with birth defects. One of the boys is blind, he was born with no eyes, and he also has a pacemaker. And the other boy who lives in America is allergic to electricity, so he can't be anywhere near electricity, or he kind of has seizures and he makes the electricity spark and stop working. So the thing is, these boys are writing letters to each other and becoming each other's kind of confidants and best friends, but they can never meet each other because obviously Ollie, the boy allergic to electricity, can never meet Moritz because he has a pacemaker, and they could end up kind of killing each other if they meet. So it's just a really lovely tale of friendship and how they support each other oceans apart, and I just really loved it. It was just a really heartwarming book, and I just really enjoyed it. And I think anyone who liked Everything by Nicola Yoon would really love this book because it's very similar. It just doesn't have that real insta-love romance that some people hated with that book. So I think if that's a problem you had with Everything, you should try Because You'll Never Meet Me, because that has kind of everything that maybe Everything didn't have. And I really love this book, and I just want everyone to read it because it's so good. And the last book I want to recommend to everyone is Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda by Becky Albertalli. This is a book I read a few months ago during the summer, and it's a really fast read. I think I read it in a couple of hours because I was waiting to go to the airport, and I read it so quickly, but I really enjoyed it. I was just hooked on the story. This is all about a boy called Simon who is gay, but no one knows he is gay. He hasn't come out to his family or his friends yet, but he is in kind of a relationship with a boy that he emails. And all he knows is that this boy goes to the same school as him, but he doesn't know his name, he doesn't know who he is. All he knows is that his email name is called Blue. So, yeah, it's just a really cute book about this boy who is dealing with himself, is trying to come out to his family and friends, but he starts being blackmailed by a boy who knows about Blue. And it's a really good exploration, I think, into people who are gay or bisexual or anything else, that how it's so important for them to come out on their own terms, and how even if someone has a really loving and supportive family, it's a really hard thing for them to do, to suddenly say I'm gay or I'm bisexual or I'm this or I'm that, and to the fear that even if they have a loving family, maybe their family won't be as supportive as they think they are, and maybe things will go terribly wrong. And it just really made me think, and it really made me kind of consider those situations and look at them differently. And I think that's a really great thing about this book, and all the characters in this book are just so adorable. Simon is adorable, Blue is adorable. The kind of guessing of who Blue is amazing. I was kind of like, oh, it's this person, oh, it's that person, oh, it's this person, oh, it is this person, I was right the first time. And it's just so much fun. and I'm really looking forward to reading anything else that Becky Albertalli writes. She does have another book coming, I think. I think it's going to be out in 2017. It's not titled or anything yet, but it is, I think, a little bit linked to Simon versus the Homo sapiens. And this has also been optioned for a movie, and I think it's going to be a really cute movie, and I can't wait to see it. And I think everyone should read this book because it's really, really good, as I said about all the other books. But yes, I love this book. You should read it. If you haven't read it, go and read it. So those are my recommendations. If anyone else has recommendations for me based on these books, please let me know, comment and let me know. I love getting book recommendations, as everyone does. And yeah, comment what you think and like and subscribe if you like the video, and I will see you guys again next time. So bye.